The U.S. is a disaster right now for so many different reasons, and a lot of you are probably giving serious consideration to leaving.
However, with so many different options, it can be really hard to figure out where you should go.
This list from The Travel talks about 10 countries that are welcoming U.S. expats, and it's quite a bit different than the other country comparisons that we've done.
So in this video, we're going to cover those 10 countries. We're going to look at the visa types, the pros and cons of living there, and how realistic it is to actually move there.
Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you're thinking about moving abroad, because we can help you decide where to live.
And now for the 10 countries welcoming U.S. expats according to The Travel, starting with Spain. Spain has a variety of visa options, including a digital nomad visa and their non-lucrative visa, which is basically their version of the retirement visa. And for that one, you need to have 30,000 euros per year. They also have a golden visa, but you need a lot more money for that. You need 500,000 euros.
Some of the pros of living in Spain are Spain is super popular and affordable, especially with people from the U.S., has incredible history and culture and castles and amazing cathedrals, and it has a really good infrastructure and healthcare system.
Their tax situation is a bit confusing, so you really need to do your research on taxes. You're also going to want to learn Spanish, so if that's an issue for you, then Spain may be off your list, and be prepared for bureaucracy.
All right, so is it realistic to move to Spain? Yes and no. You're going to have issues with the taxes and bureaucracy. The bigger issue is if you want to go that investment visa route. You need 500,000 euros for that. Most people probably don't have that sitting around in a bank. And also it's, the digital nomad visa is a shorter term visa. So it is realistic to move there, and a lot of people do, but there's going to be some more obstacles in your path.
Italy is next on the list, and I think they've become even more popular with those €1 houses. They have a population that is declining, so they are wanting more people to move there, but they want a lot of younger people. However, they do have some different visa options available. They have a digital nomad visa, which was announced in 2022, but I have not been able to find any specifics on that yet, so we are keeping our eye on that one. They also have a self-employment visa, where you need to show at least 8,500 euros per year, and that one's good for 2 years. And they have a passive income visa, and for that one, you need to have at least 31,000 euros per year.
Who hasn't dreamed of living in Italy? I've always had that dream of living under the Tuscan sun. It looks so beautiful there.
Yeah, I would love to go experience the culture, the shopping, the incredible food and wine. Yes, please, to all of what Italy has to offer.
There are some downsides to living in Italy, and the bureaucracy is probably the major one. I see this all the time online, people talking about how long it takes to get anything done. There's also lots of different taxes, like they have a TV tax, so they tax you every month if you have a television. You can opt out of that if you don't have one, but you have to file paperwork for it. Southern Italy can get really hot in the summer, while northern Italy can get really cold in the winter. And you need to watch out those crowded tourist areas because there's lots of scammers and pickpockets.
So is it realistic to move to Italy? It absolutely is. However, you need to bring a lot of patience with you. Be prepared for that bureaucracy. Make sure you understand the way the taxes work. And it may be tricky to qualify for some of those visas unless you're a pensioner.
Yeah, a lot of people from the U.S. actually buy houses in Italy, but they only live in them for 3 to 6 months a year, because with the Schengen visa, the tourist visa, you can actually stay for 3 months every 6 months, or 90 days every 180 days. So a lot of people go stay in their house in Italy for 90 days, then leave the Schengen zone for 90 and then go back. So they're staying there 6 months a year without technically getting a residency visa.
Grenada is the next country on the list, a country that JP and I had never even thought about. They have a digital nomad visa that is good for 1 year, and for that you need $37,000 a year, and it can be extended. They decided to launch this visa to increase their local business and boost the local economy, which makes sense. They also have an investor visa, so you can buy property valued at $220,000, plus you have to pay $50,000 in administration fees. But the great thing about Grenada is they are one of those countries that do not tax worldwide income.
Grenada is known as the Spice Island, or the Spice Isle of the Caribbean. They're known for their beautiful beaches. They have an underwater sculpture park, and it's an English-speaking country because it was former British colony, and they're known for their good healthcare. And then you could call yourself a Caribbean queen, and as long as you share the same dream.
Oh, Nice, JP. Okay, so they do have some cons. A big one for me is the hurricanes. Plus, it's a small island, so you're going to see limited options for some goods and services. It can be more expensive because, again, it's an island, but it is not the most expensive island in the Caribbean, as I like to say it. I've heard it both ways. And it is a little bit far. It is just north of eastern Venezuela, so it's not as easy to get there.
So is it realistic to live in Grenada? Yes, it certainly is. You might need some extra funds to get one of those visas and to afford the cost of living there, but it is a possibility.
St. Kitts and Nevis is the next country on the list, also located in the Caribbean or the Caribbean. They have a citizen through investment program. For this, you can do the Sustainable Island State Contribution of at least $250,000 or a real estate investment of at least $500,000 from an improved development. There are no residency requirements, which means you do not have to spend a certain amount of time there, which is nice. But they do have a lot of additional fees, which are pretty hefty, but you get citizenship and a lot of tax benefits.
St. Kitts and Nevis is a beautiful island nation. It's not too far from Puerto Rico, actually, so the flight from there is not too far. English is the official language again, and it has excellent health care. It's also known for having a strong passport. You get access to 157 different countries. It's ranked 25th in the world.
But it is expensive to live there. It is in Hurricane Alley, and you got island living. This could be a pro or a con. Some people get island fever, meaning cabin fever. They want to get off the island.
Yeah, I struggle with islands. Whenever I go to one, I feel claustrophobic, like I'm trapped and can't get away. So if you're like me, an island life might not be for you, but I think I could get used to it with those beautiful beaches. So is it realistic to live in St. Kitts and Nevis? It is if you've got money. It's really the only way to live there is if you have a big chunk of money to plop down on one of their investment programs.
Turkey is the next country, and they have a golden visa. You can invest $250,000 in real estate or a business, or $500,000 in other investments. And this also leads to citizenship, which you can get pretty quickly within 3 to 6 months. But the nice thing about Turkey too is that it's another country where you can go on a tourist visa for 90 days and extend it to 6 months, which is good if you're trying to work that Schengen visa, because Turkey is not part of that.
Yeah, so you could go spend 3 months in Italy, 3 months in Turkey, then go back to Italy and then back to Turkey if you want to. Some of the pros of Turkey are the amazing history and architecture. It's a beautiful, Istanbul especially is so beautiful and has a ton of cultural diversity and a lot of friendly people.
And those world famous shopping markets, oh my gosh, I think I would just get lost in those markets for days. But not everybody speaks English, so you may have to learn some Turkish, and that could definitely be a challenge. And you're going to have to be prepared for culture shock. They also do a lot of bartering, so if you're not comfortable with that, that might feel really awkward for you.
So is it realistic to live in Turkey permanently? Well, they don't have a pension visa or a digital nomad visa, so you're going to have to go that investor visa route. That means you need at least $250,000 to buy some property. That can be pretty steep for a lot of people, so I would say that it is realistic if you've got money.
Portugal is the next country, and it is super popular and popular with us as well. We talk about Portugal quite a bit. They have nice visa options which are accessible. They have a D7, which is their passive income or pension visa, and then they have their D8 digital nomad visa, and then the golden visa is kind of off and on, so we're waiting to see how that progresses. However, you don't need to plop down a ton of money to get a visa, and they're part of Schengen, so you can automatically go on for 90 days and do the whole 90 days and then go to Turkey.
Some of the pros of Portugal are the safety. It's rated number 7 for safety in the world and number 5 in Europe. So you can walk around on the streets at night and probably feel pretty safe.
English is widely spoken in the major cities, although you probably should be prepared to learn some Portuguese. There is a lot to do there, and you can live the beach life, settle into a rural town, or live in a modern city.
However, prices have gone up a lot in recent years because of popularity, not just with people from the U.S., but people from Russia, China, and Africa. going there and buying up real estate. There's lots of foreigners from all over the world there now. So is it realistic to move to Portugal? It absolutely is. In fact, it's probably the easiest one on this list.
Mexico is next on the list. This is the country with the most foreign residents, especially people from Canada and from the United States. Their residency visa requirements have changed a lot over the last couple of years, but it is still accessible. Plus, you could always do the 6-month tourist visa. They have a temporary resident visa, and that one's good for up to 4 years. And there's a lot of different types. So you could do a work visa, pension, investor, economic solvency visa. But the requirements vary depending on the consulate, so we're not going to go into all of that in detail here.
Mexico has it all. They have amazing culture and history. You can choose between mountains and beaches, small towns, big cities, have amazing food, hot peppers. What more could you ask for?
But some of the areas are not safe. They're in the news a lot, unfortunately. And the prices have really gone up over the last couple of years, especially in the popular areas like Ajijic, San Miguel de Allende, and Playa del Carmen. And, if you're not a big fan of tourists, then you may not like being in some of those spots either. Plus, most areas, actually, I don't think there's any place in Mexico where you can drink the water.
So is it realistic to live in Mexico? It absolutely is. There's like 1 million people from the U.S. living there right now. So it might be a little bit of a challenge to get those temporary visas. Each of the consulates in the U.S., which is who issues the visas, they all have different income requirements. And we've heard that there's a lot of bureaucracy and it can be a challenge to get those visas. But their 6-month tourist visa is kind of back on. We've heard sometimes people are getting shorter terms. Other people are getting longer terms when they go through the airport. So I'm not sure you want to gamble your residency on that, but it is an option.
New Zealand is next on the list. They have a working holiday visa, but you have to be between 18 and 30, so I'm assuming that's going to eliminate pretty much everybody watching this video.
So we don't have a lot of people in that age range who watch our videos.
They have a variety of visas that allow you to work, study, or own a business. They are really interested in skilled workers, so if you have a specific skill, this could be a great opportunity for you and could lead directly to permanent residency, so I'd definitely check into that. If you want to do an investor visa, you need $15 million.
I don't think very many of you will be watching our video that have $15 million to plop down in New Zealand.
Yes, but if you are, I'm really happy for you.
New Zealand is consistently ranked high for quality of life and natural beauty. There's lots of adventure stuff to do. You can do the Lord of the Rings tour, go stay in a hobbit house if you want to. They have excellent public services and healthcare. And of course, English is the official language, although it's a little bit different than ours.
But it is expensive to live there and it is far from the US. And it seems like they really only want young people. JP and I looked into moving to New Zealand when we first started our journey back in 2016. And we realized right away that we were not eligible. They want people with marketable skill sets who are going to go and get into the workforce, or you got to be really rich.
So is it realistic to live in New Zealand? Not really. They really only want you if you're young and employable or rich, super rich, to be able to plop down that $15 million. So I would say it's probably not realistic to put New Zealand on your list.
Japan is next, and they also have a variety of visas. They have a work study visa, a highly skilled visa, or an entrepreneurial visa. So this is a great opportunity if you are still working or just starting your career.
Japan's a great place to go teach English if you want to do that. In most cases, you're going to need a bachelor's degree and a TEFL certification. Japan's well known for its amazing history and culture. They have so much tradition to learn about and experience, a lot of natural beauty too, and lots of things to do. They're famous for their modern cities and infrastructure and their amazing technology, and it's a really safe country.
But the cities are very crowded. It's a small area, it's a small country, so you're going to have really small living spaces and it's more expensive. I never think about Japan as being cold and snowy, but it is. It gets cold and snowy in the winter, and unfortunately, they do not have a pensioner visa.
Yeah, so is it realistic to live there? If you're young, it's realistic. If you're older and you're relying on a pension, looking for like a pension visa or an investor visa, you're not going to find that in Japan.
South Korea is the last country on the list from the travel article. They have a couple different work visas as well. Okay, so unconventionals, they have this new K-pop visa. It's the K-culture visa, which is targeting young teens and adults who want to learn more about Korean culture and the K-pop scene. If you have your kid or grandkid wants to do that, I say go for it. How cool is that? I had a lot of fun researching this. I saw this at first. It's like, is this real? It is real. Visa holders will be allowed to stay for up to 2 years, but they are required to receive training or education in sectors related to K-pop. They also have their work action visa, which is their version of the digital nomad visa, and that is valid for up to 2 years. And they do have work and study options, but or their version of the working holiday visa, which is for people 18 to 30.
They also have tourist visa. If you're from Canada, you can go live there for 180 days a year. If you're from the U.S., it's only 90 days.
South Korea is known for its technology, its music, like I mentioned, K-pop. They have their beauty or K-beauty. They are known for their incredible culture and food and great public transportation, and there is a lot to do.
However, the cost of living is quite a bit higher than some of these other options. They have a lot of air pollution in the cities, and they don't have a retirement visa.
So is it realistic to move and live in South Korea? Well, I guess it is easier if you're Canadian and you can live there for 6 months. But for the rest of us, probably not as easy.
Yeah, unless you're young and want to go get in that K-pop scene, and then we can see you on those music videos. That'd be pretty cool.
This list was a little bit different than what we normally do, but it did have some pretty interesting options.
Yeah, which one was most interesting, Amelia?
For me, it was definitely Grenada because, well, it's just a country I had never even thought about. And even though it's a little bit more expensive, it's not as expensive as some of those other Caribbean islands. And they have that 1-year visa.
Yeah, and it's an English-speaking country. That's actually pretty appealing after living 6 years in a Spanish-speaking country and still struggling with the language. So that would be kind of nice to just be able to land there and communicate.
This was our August Members' Choice video for our patrons on Patreon. They helped us choose this topic, and they got to watch it several weeks before everyone else.
We have an amazing group of unconventionals in our private community. They're either considering a move abroad, and a lot of people already live abroad.
Plus, we offer several perks to our patrons as a way of saying thank you for helping support all the content we create about the unconventional life, earning online income, and moving abroad.
Check below or scan this QR code if you would like to join our community, get some support on your journey, and make some new friends.
And if you enjoyed this video, then check out this one next.
And let us know in the comments before you go if any of the 10 countries we talked about today resonated with you, or if you're planning a move to any of those.
And leave us a like, please. And we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.